Hello and welcome back to Parent Shift, a place where we speak about conscious parenting. Now, as parents, I'm sure you've observed that in the last 2 years, the uncertainties in this world have increased. Go back a few years, from the time of COVID, it's really been unlike what the world was. And in the last 10 years, this trend has only been increasing. What does this mean for your parenting style? What does this mean for you as a parent? Now, when I refer to you as a parent, you as someone who's got a toddler all the way to a young adult, even if they have just about started working, I'm addressing all of us because our job as a parent doesn't end once our children cross that teenage stage. Even when they are young adults, many times they will turn back to us for advice, provided our relationship with them is strong. So the question is, what does this world mean for our parenting? Now, don't mistake this invitation that I am making about the wars that are happening in this world, about the AI that is happening out there, or about the demographic changes, or so many other things which we constantly hear of. These changes that I'm talking about are far beyond that, which is the collective impact of all of these things. So, if you see in the last 10 years, and especially in the last 6 years, this world has become so much more dramatic. Not that the world is indulging in drama. Yes, there are lots of individuals involving in various kinds of dramas, but overall, there have been drastic changes, drastic rises, drastic falls. Suddenly things become normal. Like 24 was a pretty normal year for the entire world, in fact, very progressive. But then suddenly 25 and now 26 ended up being very disruptive. And as the projection goes, strategists and those people who can understand the future through Jyotish, etc., saying that up until 2032, 35, the world is going to go through a series of crises, a series of challenges. That's where this world has become so much more dramatic. In that kind of a dramatic world, distractions are many, one too many. From all the information out there to what should you do with your career, the lifestyle, the choices that we are making, to the question of identity itself. There is politics, social movement, information, misinformation almost just about everywhere. And that combination of a dramatic world and a distracting world is making this world a very demanding place. Demands on the body, on the mind, on choices, on constant attention, alertness, pretty much everything. Like somebody said, pretty much the human is the product today. Everything else is the engine through which that product is being leveraged. That's the world that we are living in. So, what does this mean? What does the distracting world, rather the dramatic world, the distracting world, and the demanding world mean for your parenting? That's the question that you should look at. The biggest parenting mistake today is preparing for the children for the world that we grew in. And that's something that we need to understand. So, as parents, we will need to reinvent ourselves. We will need to look at this world much differently and then do these 7 things that I'm talking to you about. And I'll keep it simple. I'm sure most of you are educated and understand what I'm saying here. Number one, teach your children how to think and think very clearly and make decisions. Because in this world, uh, our children do not need to be taught about what to think, because books are enough, ebooks are enough, social media platforms are enough, and all the information is out there. Information is so democratized today that even to do research has become so much more easy than when some of us were growing in the 80s and 90s, what it meant. So teach your children how to think and how to decide rather than what to think. The future is again going to be even more full of information, opinions, algorithms, persuasion, misinformation, manipulation, etc. So our children have to learn how to question things, how to verify things, how to reason out things, and how to arrive at the right kind of conclusion. Now, whether this is about their identity, whether it's their focus on what to work on, or it's the foundations of their life, or it's about how to sharpen their intelligence, their intuition, or dealing with the subjects of money, relationships, people, partnerships, etc., or every now and then reinventing themselves, or what are their life philosophies, how do they focus on life, when they get things, how do they handle that, in all of these areas, and especially how to handle challenging times and failures. Our children need to learn how to think clearly and arrive at their conclusion. That's the first thing that I'm going to invite you to work with them about. If you need to learn how to work with this, take the help of a good psychologist. Several good books, resources, etc., are available out there. As I keep saying, all of you parents must learn and read a little bit about Eric Berne's work and his contemporaries on transactional analysis. That will help you significantly. The second pillar, teach your children how to regulate their energy and emotions. And that's going to be very critical. Back in the 80s and 90s, many of us were far more tough than what children are today. We were tough because we were physically engaged in so many things, including street fights and whatever we did. We were we were into conversations, into debates, and so many other things. We were not so touchy feely as a lot of children have become now. Also, we didn't have as much fatigue. There was not as much TV or social media, etc. So, all in all, a weak body and mind, a tired body and mind is going to be very heavy on thinking and decisions. So, if your children have to succeed at thinking and making decisions, they have got to be strong mentally and physically. A weak body is going to make you struggle, and you'll break under pressure. And a weak body can never have a strong mind for too long. Even if it's strong, it will not stay strong for too long. Uncontrolled emotions are going to be great challenge in the future. So children need to understand what emotions to associate with, how to regulate it, and especially not be touchy feely. So whether it is their physical existence or their mental existence, they need to be far more tough than what at least the last 10-15 years of children have really become. Teach your children how to exercise, how to sleep, how to do things in the outdoors, climb trees, work with tools, do maintenance jobs at home, how to handle the pressure of running a household, various things that they need to learn and understand, managing money, managing people, managing events, family events. Many of us have grown up in joint families or extended families visiting us. Many children today don't experience some of that. So they don't have many of these social skills that we used to have. Work with them. Some of these skills are going to be very, very relevant in the future, not in the context of what we grew up with, but in the context of what the world is going to become. So in the dramatic, distracting, and demanding world, a physical and mentally strong person is going to have a greater chance of succeeding as compared to someone who's not so much. So teach them how to regulate their energy and emotions, which comes from their body and mind. The third pillar for you to work on, teach your children how to continuously learn. There was a time when a single career, a single focus, a single attention, a single capability was enough. But today, with technologies coming, with so many career changes happening, industry changes happening, you'll realize that in 5 to 8 years, the job landscape and so many other things will be so much different. So children today not just have to pass exams or to choose a career, they have to learn to be very focused on lifelong learning, unlearning, relearning, and doing it again and again. So they need to have the stamina to learn, the skills to learn. Learning is first a skill and an attitude, and later it is the amount of time, etc., that you invest with resources. So they need to have the skill, the attitude of learning. That's something you must teach your children. The fourth pillar is you need to teach your children how to build relationships. And especially in the last 15 years, with social media coming, a lot of relationships have moved offline, or rather online. The offline focus of trust, offline focus of cooperation, friendships, mentorships, marriage, leadership. There are so many challenges that are there existing today in this world, and they are showing also in the online world. So, especially skills like listening, having deep, long conversations without getting offended, having empathy, having respect, letting other people have their point of views and you not trying to impose. So you can't live in a world, and the today's world has become that if I need to exist, I need to impose my will on others. And there are many communities which are doing that. So that's not the focus that we need to have in life. We need to understand conflict resolution, understand our space. We need to learn to stand up for ourselves, many of us. So that's the world that we need to live in. And that's the skill that you should teach your children. So, especially listening, having deep conversations, empathy, respect, managing conflicts, etc. The fifth pillar that you must teach your children to manage is teach them how to work, and work hard and work deep. Many people today don't have physical capabilities of working, writing, keeping logs, managing physical things, you know, creating order, creating disciplines, having structure around them. Many people are very adept at the computer world, at the electronic world. So you ask them to figure out an electronic gadget, they will do it very quickly. But in their physical world, you can't survive without maps, you can't survive without electronic directions and electronic logs, all of that. So so many people are really forgetting the real art of physical working. How do you build, work with people, sit in meetings, take responsibility, be reliable, be disciplined, be on time, and that whole essence of waking up on time, getting ready, getting to work, finishing work, getting back to whatever you need to do, going to sleep on time, doing this over and over again, doing repetitive work over and over again, being perseverant in whatever you're doing. Some of these skills are badly missing in the world today, and they will be very important in the future. So teach your children how to work. In fact, it's very important that many of us learn survival skills ourselves and also teach this to our children. The world that we are going towards, if there are crises like war, etc., that will happen, a lot of people, a lot of population today completely is missing on survival skill, living off the land, reconstruction, movement, building things. That skill is majorly absent because the world that we have seen in the last 30, 40 years is a prosperous, growing world as compared to what it could be if the global crisis continues and there is a precipitation as they're saying there will be. So, fifth pillar, teach your children how to work, especially in the physical world, how to work, have survival skills. Pillar number six for them, teach them how to live with a little less. The consumerism movement, the whole consumption culture that we have, and it's become almost stylized. How much can someone spend and what all can one have? The whole concept of minimalism is completely gone. So essentials are looked at as you don't have enough unless you're opulent, unless you are like have abundant choices. It doesn't look like you're living a respectable life, and that's not what life is all about. The ability to remain content, be adaptable, be resourceful is becoming very rare in this world. Additionally, gratitude, simplicity, delayed gratification, financial prudence, these are not things which, at least in the last 10, 15 years, have been given a lot of importance to. Teach this to your children. Teach your children how to live with less. And lastly, and very important, across the world, it is very prominent that people are forgetting their roots. Individuals are forgetting their human roots. Individuals are forgetting their cultural and family roots. And they are all over the place with all sorts of crazy fads that are being put out there to distract people from identity issues to political issues to unnecessary movements and activism. There is too much that the youth is involved in today. Protect your children, teach them how to stand up for their roots, their culture, where they belong. And this is not about binding limitations. This is not about restricting them within certain practices. This is about helping them understand where they come from, who their ancestors were, what their lineage is, why many of those things which our ancestors said are even relevant today. Family history, cultural identity, values, traditions, respect for your lineage. These are becoming some very important things. A lot of people don't even know where their ancestors come from or where their origins were, or they possibly have not visited those places. So those are the things to look at. So 7 pillars to prepare your children for the world that is coming. Many of these things were important when we were growing up, but they are even more important today in a very different context. So start with rethinking your approach to parenting. You don't need to parent your children for the world that you came from. You need to parent your children for a world that neither of you have seen, nor you nor your children. And that's where the challenge really lies. Hope you're able to work with some of these guidances. If you have questions, please reach out to me and we can book a session and work on some of these things. Otherwise, find somebody who is in your area, a coach, a mentor, a child psychologist, whoever you can work with to get some guidance, whoever is experienced in handling these kind of things. Again, I keep saying this in many of my videos. Read about transactional analysis, read about Eric Berne's work and his contemporaries' work. You'll get great ideas about what really is the human psyche and how can we work with creating the appropriate adult psyche for our children while keeping their parent and child ego state healthy. I will see you very soon with another very important concept like this. Till then, keep your comments flowing, keep your questions coming, and if there is something that you want me to address in one of my videos, please let me know that topic. I will see you very soon. Thank you so much for being here. This was Parent Shift, a place where we speak about conscious parenting. Your coach, mentor, guide, Sai Kumar Chandran, signing off.